I want to see our hard Izzy Kulaba. Here's your broth, Gam Gam.
No, y'all are terrible. I'm just trying to look for my.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we need some side characters. I'm going to suggest that she teams up with a schizophrenic Irishman, a spirited donkey, and an itinerant Chinese miner.
Man, you got this thing figured out. What would we do without you, Chris?
Sorry, repeat that?
Yeah, I'll place it in the chat.
Okay.
Wow, okay. Schizophrenic. I love that. I'm just reading something set in Ireland, but yeah, sweet.
There was actually a huge diversity in the Australian gold mines. Like, there was, like,
I bet, yeah.
tens of thousands. I think I read there were close to 200,000 Chinese miners.
1 minute.
Chinese? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder there's so much diversity over there. Like you see like Hillsong, and there's like people that look like they're like from the whole spectrum, which is crazy. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Her Reading Life podcast. Now today's episode is going to be a little bit different from most episodes that we usually have. So if this is your first time, just be aware this is going to be a bit of a wild ride of an episode. Most of our episodes are definitely more about inspiring you and helping you find new ways of telling your story or inspiring you to do things that maybe you've never thought of doing, or to realize that, hey, maybe writing a best-selling book is not so crazy. I love being able to challenge you and help you to grow and thrive and create a life that you love and that you are so proud of. However, today, we're going to have a crazy fun episode. I hope that it inspires you. I absolutely do. But to be honest, the point of today's episode is to prove... Well, okay. Today's episode is really a continuation of one of my most successful podcast episodes. Now, before I dive in, definitely hit the subscribe button, like, and comment. In fact, comment what is your favorite part of this episode, because it's going to be so much fun. About 9 or 10 months ago, I invited some guys to come onto the podcast to talk about how to create a strong female character that wasn't toxic and annoying. I knew that they had talked a lot about this on their social media pages, and so I was like, this would be so much fun to actually bring them on a podcast and just hear all their unfiltered thoughts on the subject. Especially since, on social media, it can be so difficult to actually say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Anyway, we've got to be serious here. I'm telling you, this is going to be a crazy episode. Where was I? But it's so difficult to actually get on social media and say as much as you want to say clearly, concisely, in the span that social media gives you in short form content. And so I was like, man, there's so many good points that they're making here, but I would really love to hear them actually flesh out their thoughts and talk more about this and how you can actually write a strong female character the right way, Initially, I actually invited them more for how to write realistic male characters, but we kind of drifted most into the strong female character because it's just such a prevalent trope and archetype at this point. So we really had so much fun with that. And then one of the guys, Chris, actually had the brilliant idea of going to ChatGPT and asking it to describe the tropiest, like the classic strong female character. What would a strong female character actually look like? And ChatGPT came up with a hilarious idea and portrayal of the strong female character. We're actually going to go back to that in today's episode. But it just kind of brought to light how kind of ironic and a little tropey and flat some of these characters have been, and how even I think feminism to some degree has actually in these stories hindered the actual representation of women. We're described and portrayed as people who don't care about anything except, kickboxing and beating men up and I think some of the best traits of women and some of the things that really make women shine and make female characters what they are and bring out what we love best about them, it really does dilute that. It really does subtract that from the characters that we love. And so those episodes ended up being some of my most popular episodes on the podcast ever. No surprise there, because we had so much fun making it. I almost was afraid it was going to be so chaotic that people weren't going to get it, but believe me, people had so much fun with that one. I got so many comments from people saying, oh my goodness, I loved hearing these episodes. Something else that was really funny that I had thought was a me problem. So many people wrote to me, so many of my lovely writer friends were like, I am so grateful that you had these guys come onto the podcast. Now I have guide writers that I can actually follow. I didn't even know any guide writers that I could actually follow, that I could read their content, that I could read their books, their work. And it's been such a beautiful blessing to bring this community around unity. Especially when sometimes book talk has been a little bit divisive, especially recently, it can just get so tough. So I've honestly had a blast with this. In fact, I had such a blast, and my listeners had such a blast, that we decided to do a part 2. I invited the guys onto a kind of like a continuation of the same idea. However, in this one, we're not just going to be talking about how to create a strong female character that actually is realistic and is not toxic or annoying. We're actually going to create one in 10 minutes. And yes, I know you're seeing the video and you're seeing this is longer than 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's basically a game. So we basically took a game designed by Vanity Fair, in which they had Emily Carmichael, who is a scriptwriter, write a scene, or try to write a scene in 7 minutes, using 3 rounds to be able to create like almost a full-fledged script. And it was so entertaining. I found this one kind of by happenstance, and the idea was so compelling and brilliant. I was like, this is perfect for us to kind of play with this idea, to write a book, a full book, in 10 minutes, which was incredibly audacious, but it was so much fun. So, and don't worry, I'm going to explain all the rules in just a second. Also, before we jump in, I do want to apologize. Guys, if you guys are watching this, I do apologize. I did not realize I was being so terribly bossy. I was so pressed for time. I was like, I hope we just get this thing done. So if I am talking over people or being terribly, terribly rude, I apologize. I'm so sincerely sorry. I did not mean to step over everyone or, be super bossy. These guys were amazing and they're so sweet. So please give them all the love in the world. They're amazing. Yeah. So yes, and if you're still wondering how this is going to work, don't worry. I'm going to explain the rules in just a minute, so let's roll it. Hey everyone, so today I am joined again by the incredible guys who were on one of my previous episodes, actually 3 of them, and you guys enjoyed those episodes so much, especially with the strong female character dynamic idea thing. I just thought it would be so much fun to bring them back on. You guys already probably know them, but if you'd like, you guys can introduce yourselves like really quickly again. Byron, you can go first.
Hey everybody, this is Byron again. I'm the author of the Foxlane series, and I'm excited to rank y'all's story over the coals.
Hi, I'm Jayden. I'm the author of the Falcon's Nest trilogy, and I'm excited to be back on this podcast. It's going to be a good episode.
My name's Chris, and I live in Canada. I am currently writing a African fantasy steampunk sort of story that is very hard to describe, but very fun to write.
And I'm your host, Shira Rodriguez. So today we are actually going to have quite a bit of a different kind of episode, because what we're going to be doing is, I had this idea with the podcast. As we were kind of talking about the strong female character and the tropes, we were talking about how to fix them, right? But I was like, wait a minute. I know that bad stories can be changed and you can improve them, but how do you actually practically do that? So today we're going to show you how we are going to actually do this. And we're going to do this in basically 3 rounds. We're going to have ChatGPT create a premise for us, and it's going to be so full of all the tropes that are just so tropey that you're like, I am sick of this. But we're going to do our best in 10 minutes to change that. Then we're going to turn it to our amazing editor, Byron, and he's going to give some suggestions, and then it'll turn back to us. We have to create a rough outline. So basically, we're writing a book, and then going over it again after his suggestions, and seeing if it is better than kind of like an outline that ChatGPT would do. So if it's confusing, don't worry, hang on, it'll make sense. Sort of. It's probably going to be a little chaotic, though. So why don't we jump in, guys? I don't know if you guys want me to have the timer or if you guys are doing timer. Byron, you know what? You know what, Byron? Do you think you could do the timer?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So.
Just say when.
Okay, awesome. So
10 minutes, right?
In 10 minutes. Okay, so our original concept for the strong female character was basically this is what we created in March 2024, which is crazy because it's been so long since we actually did the last one. So the original idea was to have this strong female character called Isabella Izzy Merrick, or the Phoenix, age 28, appearance shoulder length, fiery red hair, emerald green eyes, 5'9" with a lean and muscular build. She often wears practical, durable clothing. Why am I stumbling over everything today? She often wears practical, durable clothing suited for nature, adventure, favoring earth tones that blend into her surroundings. She's exceptionally fit with the endurance of a marathon runner and the strength of a trained fighter. I don't know what's happening in my computer today. Has a piercing gaze that can unnerve her opponents and a warm smile for her allies. Place of origin, a remote village in the mountains known for its skilled warriors, raised by her grandmother, a revered warrior, after losing her parents in a conflict. She has a younger brother who is studying to be a scholar. So this is as tropey and funny as you can get. But we had ChatGPT create a concept off of this. Thank you, Chris. And so we're basically grabbing this concept right here, and we have 10 minutes to fix it. And I'm sorry that my computer is acting so wonky. Let's just tell it to just be quiet. Okay.
If I can just interject here quick.
Sure.
Sorry, but the original concept was also ChatGPT. So
sweet. Oh, sorry. Did I say thanks to Chris? Because it says ChatGPT concept. Okay.
Oh yeah. So the original Isabella Izzy Mark thing was also ChatGPT.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So we're just kind of making it even.
Yeah, we
even
wouldn't come
weirder.
up with something like that, guys. Right? Right?
Right.
Yeah, no, okay, so the original concept we didn't come up with it. So clarification, the original concept is ChatGPT.
Yeah.
All ChatGPT. We
made it worse with ChatGPT.
And we made it worse. We told it, you told it specifically to include all the tropes and everything.
Yep.
So then we took all the terrible tropey idea, and Chris was so kind as to plug it into ChatGPT for me, because I just didn't have time. And we got this spit out. I have not read it, so this is my first time. Isabella Izzy Merrick, a skilled warrior. Wait a second, let me pop over here. A skilled warrior raised in a remote mountain village discovers she is the last heir to a forgotten legacy when her home is destroyed by a ruthless lord, Kale Draith.
Name's Kale? Okay. That's the first thing we got.
I didn't think about it. I was just how do you pronounce this? Armed with her late grandmother's mysterious talisman, she sets out on a perilous journey to stop Kale from unleashing an ancient evil. Along the way, Isabella assembles a team of unlikely allies, a rogue, disgraced knight, and a wisecracking sidekick. Betrayal, hidden powers. I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. Betrayal, hidden powers, and a fiery transformation lead to a climactic battle where Isabella embraces her destiny as its phoenix, defeating darkness, but at a bittersweet cost. Okay, probably the only part I like is the bittersweet cost, because I like tragedy.
Not the fiery transformation, like GPT's attempt at a pun there. It's wink,
Can the
wink.
wisecracking sidekick be a squirrel?
There you go. Okay, does the timer begin now? I feel like that's the
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Okay.
Alrighty, and 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, boom. Okay, what are we changing? What are we keeping? And guys, my computer's acting weird, so if you guys could copy this into the document, that would be great.
Great. Quick question. We're trying to make this serious, right? Like we're not making this into like some sort of Princess Bride parody because that would be really easy.
Yeah,
But-
no. This is supposed to be actually good. Something that you
Okay.
can actually sell, okay? That you would actually be proud of.
I would be proud of Princess Bride.
No, but I mean like, yeah, because that would be a comedy. Oh, I should define the genre. Let's
It would
just
be
say
so
it's
funny if it was like a satire. There was someone online who told me that she was seriously considering writing a satire called A Court of This and That. And I thought that was a really funny
Timer's
idea.
going down, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
I think first step, let's put it in a really weird or like unique setting that kind of pops us out of the usual genre. So not just like the usual fantasy, but
this is fantasy, right? So what genre are we doing? We're doing fantasy, right?
Yeah,
No,
it's
this is
fantasy.
just dystopian or whatever.
Yeah, but we could do like Chinese fantasy or like lunar fantasy or
Ooh.
just go with
Okay.
something weird.
Okay. Weird. Australia. I don't know. I'm thinking off the top. I don't know, like an Aboriginal thing. I
Yeah,
don't know.
like let's
Chinese
do like
Australians.
Australian fantasy cowboy. Like 1800s gold rush Australia with
Ooh,
magic.
that's great. I love that.
Okay. Was there? Wait, hold on. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay, Jayden, your official scribe, because use your
Okay.
typing skills for
Whoops.
noble purpose.
Anonymous manatee.
How do you spell Australia? What?
It's fine. Just type it. It's fine. We'll fix it later.
Ask ChatGPT.
We're like, fix the spelling, and it will do it.
So she's an Australian
That's true. Yeah.
cowgirl.
Sorry, this is sounding like
So
like the princess movies I used to watch.
how about her family? Like they live in the mountains near where the gold rush is happening. And so they like interact with the miners regularly, and that's sort of their like that's how they provide for themselves, right? Is like selling like farm goods and stuff like that to all these hungry people. But because it's such like a sort of lawless, ruthless place, this warlord, Cale Draith, starts to sort of amass his own power.
So this is a
And-
cowboy warlord.
Yes, a
Okay.
cowboy warlord.
Okay.
Ah!
Okay. Let's see.
Wait, what was the reason behind his amassing of power again?
So he's basically starting a cartel among the miners.
Ooh, we like cartels.
that can be like so misconstrued.
You're down to 6.5 minutes.
Thank you, Byron. Okay. Are we okay, let me see. Are there any parallels? How can we okay. So please let's change her last name. I can't stand it.
How about Billabong?
Isn't there like a flip-flops company that's called
Oh yeah, I guess there is. It's the Australian word for like a well.
Yeah, I thought I was thinking about the flip-flops. Maybe she started the Billabong company.
Could be her uncle. I don't know. No, wait. That's too. What am I doing? My mind is. That's tropey. Way too tropey. Hold on.
Yeah,
Then he
yeah, but
started
we don't do
Billabong?
family relations.
The uncle being the villain. That's so
Oh
tropey.
yeah. What's something you wouldn't expect?
Um,
Maybe her boyfriend? I don't know.
No relations.
No?
no relations.
No relations?
I don't. Yeah, actually.
Isn't
Hold
that,
on.
isn't that kind of like killing off everybody for agency though? I don't know if that's
Oh, I thought you guys were talking about the warlord being a family relation.
I mean something that you wouldn't expect, but again, that you're kind of walking into some weird territory is like I don't know, some kind of a religious leader or something.
Hmm.
But then you get into some weird territory.
We could run with that.
Did you call her Coolabah?
It's like an Australian tree.
Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. It's better than Izimeric, because that was driving me nuts. We have to have something about a late grandmother. Well, there's always a great grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Mysterious talisman. Because we have to have some parallels to the original. We can't like completely
She
change
could
it.
be like caring for her like dying grandmother who like maybe can't really speak or is
Or
kind of
talk
senile.
or breathe.
Yes. Well,
Isn't there like a Newsies line that it's like who's deaf and mute and dead or something?
I don't know. Yeah, it could be a good like subversion of the trope. Like, you know, you have the wise old grandmother. Maybe
Oh, yeah.
she's just caring for her grandmother who like is kind of senile and old. Like, you know, in Knives Out, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but like the
Oh,
great
yeah.
grandmother is like she just sits there and doesn't talk.
I haven't watched Knives Out, but
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe she's more of more like of a
4
hindrance
minutes,
than a-
guys.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I
We
know
really
that.
got to bring this into a premise idea, though. Like, we don't
Yeah.
really have what she must do to overcome this guy.
Yeah.
Um,
So we could tap into Aboriginal mythology.
Okay, you probably know more about that than I do. So
I'm consulting Wikipedia.
Oh,
So I know.
I'm like, these guys are so smart. Behind like the computer, I can't see and I can't hear, and you guys are looking up stuff. Of course, I'm like, and I was like, man, they're so smart. Like you guys are, but like then I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I'm also listening to an audiobook about Australia right now, which helps.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that like the whole like indigenous magic thing can be way overplayed and very like sort of, I guess, othering if it's done wrong, where you're just sort of like fetishizing somebody else's culture. But we
Right.
could run with that. So there's this apparently there's this Aboriginal mythological creature called the rainbow serpent. And Wikipedia says the serpent is viewed as a giver of life through its association with water, but can be a destructive force if angry. It's sort of like the archetypal mother goddess. So we could run with something like that and replace the
I like
phoenix with like rainbow serpent.
Ooh, what if we, instead of doing fire, because everybody always does fire, let's do water.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Let's use the
Because it's a
like
very
the water
dry
symbol.
context.
Brilliant. I love it. Okay, we're running with that.
Okay, so sorry, I'm looking at the original concept. I'm just trying to find the. Okay.
2 minutes, guys.
3 minutes? 2? Oh, good lord. Okay. So now we just gotta plug it into a premise. Oh, now I'm getting all my books. Where is my book?
Senile old Gam Gam. I want to see our hard Izzy Coolaba. Here's your broth, Gam Gam.
No. Y'all are terrible. I'm just trying to look for my.
Oh my gosh.
Where's my
Okay, so we need some side characters. I'm going to suggest that she teams up with a schizophrenic Irishman, a spirited donkey, and an itinerant Chinese miner.
Man, you got this thing figured out. What would we do without you, Chris?
Sorry, repeat that.
Yeah, I'll place it in the chat.
Oh, wow, okay. Schizophrenic. I love that. I'm just reading something set in Ireland, but yeah, sweet.
There was actually a huge diversity in the Australian gold mines. Like there was like
I bet, yeah.
tens of thousands. I think I read there were close to 200,000 Chinese miners.
1 minute.
Chinese? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder there's so much diversity over there. Like you
Yeah.
see like Hillsong, and there's like people that look like they're like from the whole spectrum, which is crazy. I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't done much research on Australia, but it sounds really interesting. I need to do that now.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's another way to sell tickets, you know, at for trips. You just tell somebody a story,
Totally.
and if it's good enough, then you can convince them to go.
Okay, how about the so the villain has this magical power where he can like sort of draw the water, sort of the life force out of the nature around him to sustain
Okay.
his mining endeavors. But in the process, he sort of just like scorches the earth. And so there's this contrast between Izzy Coolaba, who is like this, she realizes that she's this mythological water serpent spirit, and the villain who's sort of like sucking the water, the life force out of
Time's
the
up, guys.
to sustain.
You're going, oh
Oh.
Oh man.
no! Okay, your turn, Byron. Making a podcast or content creation is actually a lot like this experiment. Often you have the initial idea that you had in your mind, and then when you go to the drawing board, it doesn't always look the way you thought. Or especially in execution, when you actually start filming your content, when you start recording your audio, or if you are doing content on Instagram, maybe it just does not pan out the way you thought it would. There's a lot of ums, there's a lot of ahs, there's a lot of empty spaces, and a lot of work that you kind of have to put into editing it and cleaning it up. Similar to the way Byron was editing our stuff and taking what we came up with and making it 100 times better. But let's be honest, that takes time. And so most of us don't have time to balance both really good content creation and actually doing the thing that really matters to us, whether it's fitness, whether it's speaking, whether it's writing a book or being an artist or acting. We just don't have that much time to be able to juggle all of the things. But that's why I partnered up with Riverside. Honestly, Riverside has been such a life changer and a time saver. This episode would have been so much harder to edit if it hadn't been for Riverside. Riverside FM is your new best friend for creating content that can change the world with your words. With just a click of a button, you can edit your videos even if you have zero editing experience. You can clean it up. You can actually cut down your production time from 3 hours to 1 hour, which is literally what has happened to me. You can create long-form content that automatically becomes short-form content and saves you hours of work and effort and time and thinking. If this sounds like something you're interested in, definitely click the link below where you can try Riverside out for free.
Okay, so how much time do I get?
You can have as much as you want, but for agency's sake, let's say 5 minutes.
5. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's a lot
Oh,
to unpack.
that bad. That bad.
Okay.
You didn't give it to me like a promise. I'm sorry.
Yep. Well. Oh gosh. Okay. All right. Ready when you guys are.
Go for it.
Okay, so let's see here. Just to run over the concept one more time, the original ChatGPT concept. So Isabel is a Merrick, a skilled warrior raised in a remote mountain village, discovers she is the last heir to a forgotten legacy when her home is destroyed by the ruthless warlord Cale Draith. You know, maybe he turned bad because that was his name. I mean, armed with her late grandmother's mysterious talisman, she sets out on a perilous journey to stop Cale from unleashing an ancient evil. Along the way, Isabella assembles a team of unlikely allies, a rogue, a disgraced knight, and a wisecracking sidekick. Betrayal, hidden powers, and a fiery transformation lead to a climactic battle where Isabella embraces her destiny as the Phoenix, defeating darkness, but at a bittersweet cost. And so you guys took that ball and really ran with it. 1800s Australian fantasy cowgirl named Izzy Coolabah lives in the mountains where the gold rush is happening, interacts with miners. There's a warlord cowboy named Cale Draith, starts to amass power, begins a cartel. Say my name. Oh, okay. She's caring for her senile old... Oh, it's Mima now. Okay. Teams up with a schizophrenic Irishman, a spirited donkey, and an internet Chinese miner. A watery transformation. Okay, so we're switching elements. Got it. Linked with the rainbow serpent. Villain can draw resources, life from around him to sustain his mighty endeavors, but he burns what's around him. Okay, interesting. So we got fire and water going. Cool. So I think just off the top of my head, let's start with the side characters. So we got 3 in each.
Can you write?
So,
can we start writing? Let me write them down.
Yeah,
like
or
Jayden,
if you want to scribe or somebody, because I
Yeah.
can't like.
I feel like Jayden's
Read
gonna be
off
so
my
burnt
head
out by the end of today.
So the original prompt was a rogue, a disgraced knight, and a wisecracking sidekick. So I think our Chinese miner should be the rogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
The schizophrenic Irishman is obviously the wisecracking sidekick, and of course that leaves the spirited donkey being our disgraced knight.
I love it.
So maybe he's a powerful donkey, or maybe he's like the first person who became a donkey. I kind of
Under
like.
a spell.
I like the powerful donkey idea.
Or the mule has a sire who is like a racehorse,
Or
but
the
now he's just a mule.
or he was
Oh!
turned into a donkey.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe
As
have like
punishment
a Beauty and the
for-
Beast
Hale
sort of
should be a
thing, but I don't
Scottish
know.
man.
That's
What, just because his name sounds vaguely Celtic? Okay, interesting.
This sounds like. Sorry, can I just say something quickly? It feels like the I don't know why the donkey is giving me like, oh, what's that play? The Midnight Summer's Dream.
Oh my
what-
gosh.
Bottom.
No, yeah, A Midsummer Night's Dream. Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway.
Shakespeare. Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I watched the horror movie based on that, Midsummer,
Oh.
and it was.
Wait, you
It
watched
was-
the horror movie and not the?
I watched Midsummer, and it was like one of the most depraved things I've ever watched, and I hated it so much. So
Oh my goodness.
it's terrible.
All right, I'll just put that in the bucket of not to watch movies.
You should.
So, okay, so we got our side characters. They're obviously
Okay.
gonna all need backstories and stuff. I'll leave that up to you guys. What the heck is a schizophrenic Irishman doing in Australia? What the heck is a spirited donkey doing around here? And a Chinese miner who's a rogue. So, I don't know. Also, how the heck is she gonna come across these people? Why would she go on a magical journey? And so I guess that's my biggest criticism, guys. Where is the magical journey?
I think we were just
Valid.
throwing
Um,
all the toys in there. We're like, here we go.
Yeah. So, yeah, we definitely need some myths around this rainbow serpent within the context of this world. Because I don't. Is it actually Australia? Are we just magicalifying Australia, or is this its own
No,
planet
it's-
that just has the aesthetic of 1800s Australia? And
I
if
would
that's
say-
the case, we need obviously this is a very modernized society, so we need. Is there magic behind all the instruments, kind of, or the magic behind the machinery, that kind of thing, or stuff like that? And then, where was I going with this? Okay, yeah, so a little bit more on the setting. And then part of the original concept was to take a family legacy surrounding these myths and then the grandmother's talisman that is somehow roped into that.
Yeah.
So talisman could be a stone, maybe I don't know, you guys are going with a water theme, so maybe it's like a really cool surfboard or
Why is this like
goes.
just sort of the plot of Moana?
That's what I've been thinking this entire time. Except we have I guess a crazier grandma. Oh gosh, this is rough, guys. Okay, and so our villain Kale. You're Kale. So what is a Scottish man doing? Or I guess not really Scottish, since we're not in the real world. What the heck is he doing here? Why is he building a cartel for mining? Like what's his end goal, I guess? And what the heck does this have to do with the rainbow serpent? Why would what's her name? Isabella get involved here?
Actually, I have sort of an idea for that.
No ideas yet until drafting.
What?
Round 2. I don't think we're allowed to have anything that we can actually come up with because it's supposed to be like he has the floor, basically.
Oh,
I mean, if you want to, you can, but
Nope. I'm muting
Yeah.
myself.
Well, I think I'll just go ahead and pass it off to you guys because 10 minutes wasn't a lot of time. So, yeah, just like we need a point of conflict here, guys.
Yeah.
What's the problem going on? How does this all tie together? I think we have a good backdrop here, but there's no plot right now. So there you go. There's your mission. Develop a plot. Develop these side characters. Give them fun backstories. I really want to see like this awesome relationship between Donkey and Isabella. And that's another thing is if like we're kind of turning the strong female character trope on its head and making it better. What's her personality like?
Oh yeah.
Why is she jaded? All that kind of stuff. Instead of just her being different, like every other story. So let's give like some reasoning behind the differences. So yeah, I'll just pass it on to you guys now. Is this another 10-minute timer, Shira?
What?
Another 10-minute timer for you guys?
Yeah,
We
that'd be
make
perfect.
15.
My goodness. Something I love about these guys is that I never fail to have an amazing time with them. I genuinely learn so much, but I have so much fun. Like, I first brought them on because I was like, this is something I genuinely am interested in learning more about. I want to know how to write male characters who actually sound realistic and that men are actually thinking, oh yeah, this is realistic for a man. A man would do this, you know? And obviously, I don't know about that. I'm not a man. I don't have brothers. It's just hard, okay? But what I didn't expect when I invited them onto the podcast was that I was actually going to learn so much about more than just writing men. I learned so much about thinking through books and approaching literature not just as a source of entertainment, but actually as a way to grow your mind and improve your thoughts. And I just didn't expect I would have so much fun with it either. Which is crazy. And I think that so many women miss out on this when we try to make things an exclusively female experience. I'm not saying that women-only things are wrong at all. Honestly, the target audience for this podcast was mostly women, thus Her Reading Life podcast. But something that I have learned is that we women have so much to learn from men. We really do. If we weren't so stuck up and thought that we knew everything, I think we could learn immensely about how to express ourselves well, about how to think in terms of logic, not just emotion. I think we miss out so many times on a lot of great things that men have to bring to the table, especially as male authors. Honestly, we kept joking. I was like, guys, I feel like male authors are going extinct. And it's true. Like, it's not that they are extinct, but they do feel like they're going extinct. I think the world has space for both male and female authors. We often dismiss how much there is to learn from partnering up with men and actually being willing to listen and to learn and not just talk over them. That's my hot take. But truly from just listening to these guys, and I know I'm a terrible example of this because I was talking over everybody in today's episode, and I do apologize for that. I do apologize. But just by observing and listening to them and allowing them to teach me, honestly, being humble enough to learn and to admit I am not the smartest person in the room. When these guys are in the room, I am absolutely not the smartest person in the room, and thank God I'm not, because I get to learn so much. I feel so honored and privileged to be able to learn all this stuff. And I feel like so many women, so many times we think, oh, we're so much smarter than guys. We're so much better. And we think that we've got everything figured out. We do not. At all. At all. And there is just something so rewarding about actually pausing and listening to what they have to say. Even if it's in fun, like I learned so much just from their process. Byron in particular, I was like, oh my word, he's such a really good editor. I should probably apply some of these things to myself. I learned so much just from this crazy experiment because I was able to actually think logically, what is this doing to my story? How is this growing it? How is it building it out? So yeah, all that to say, it was a lot of fun to be able to plan this, and I cannot wait for you to listen to round 2, where we're going to be diving even more into outlining the book. And yeah, it's a book. I keep forgetting it's a book. We're basically going to dive more into outlining the book and creating something that is definitely unique. If nothing else, it's going to be super unique. You don't want to miss it. So until next time, continue to live, give, and repeat, and I will see you next time.